Hey everybody, Dr. Eric Plasker here. Welcome back to 100 Year Lifestyle TV. Back again with Patrick Porter, Dr. Patrick Porter, talking about the brain. And hey, let's talk specifically about peak performance. We know that top athletes, top performers in every walk of life, I've taken care of so many of them over the years, and man, they think differently, they use their brain differently. How can an ordinary person maybe program themselves or think differently to become more of a peak performer?
Well, the number one thing they can start doing is thinking positive. Possibility thinking, literally, they now know turns different gene expressions on that help you to succeed. Negative thinking, they know turns on other gene expressions that basically have your body, failing on you. So that limited thinking is the thing that stops most people.
So you said something that we talk about all the time. We're at an event here in Florida, the FCA, and there's 20 classes going on about gene expressions turning on and off. And most of the population, I still think, believes and blames a lot of health problems, issues on genetics versus lifestyle. Talk to us a little bit more about gene expression.
Right. Well, only 20% of your gene expression comes from your parents. So 20% of your problems you might be able to blame on them.
Yeah.
But 80% is based on the foods you consume, the thoughts you think, and the lifestyle you live. So you can turn on those healthy genes by thinking healthy, doing healthy things, consuming healthy foods. And they now know, like people like Bruce Lipton, who wrote the book Biology of Belief.
Yeah.
And he talks about how genetics, think of your genetics like a pistol, and that your behaviors are pulling the trigger. So you can have the bullet logged in there, but if you never pull the trigger, you might have a propensity for alcoholism, but if you don't ever express that gene, you don't have alcoholism. So the key thing is to express the genes or express the behaviors that you want to be, the act as if protocol. Most people who are highly successful, highly skilled, they don't have a doubt thought. And Wayne Dyer says you have to cast out all doubt for success to prevail. So most people, if you cloud your mind with doubt, then your brain's trying to figure out how to get you to fail. Just think in terms, now you have to adapt and adjust and change because we don't always get what we want. I mean, it's kind of a story about, like, if you think about marketing even, the number one rule about marketing is you're always probably going to be wrong. So you got to adapt to what the market wants. And most people need to lead their life like that. I always say, there's an old saying, cease expecting and you have all things, right? Buddha said that 5,000 years ago. But the reality is today you need to expect everything and be happy of something.
Yeah.
And then adapt, adjust, but the bigger net you can cast with your consciousness and your thoughts, the bigger opportunity for positive change.
Yeah, so true, and that relates to performance, and you said a big word, it's change.
Yes.
One of the things, there's a lot of content on 100yearlifestyle.com on change. It's really all about change, and if you watch yourself like you're watching a movie and you hear this discussion, you say, but I had a negative thought, does that mean it won't work for me? And the answer is no. You can reprogram yourself. Like we say, there's a great article in there, watch the movie of you. You watch yourself like you're watching a movie, and then if you can catch yourself with negative thoughts, you can literally stop yourself in the middle, consciously change your thought, and put your life on a different path. And that is something that you could do right now. There's also some things with technology that you can do. Talk about some of the things that you have learned with BrainTap, for example.
Well, we have a few different techniques for disrupting. We call them pattern interrupts.
Right.
So when somebody has a negative thought, they can immediately say stop, visualize a large stop sign, stop giving it energy, stop giving it time, and then think of it 3 different ways. One thing about peak performers in golf, they are trained when they hit a bad shot to not leave that moment until they visualize that shot going 3 times perfectly. That way the next time they get to the shot or the next ball, they have a positive mindset. The other one's washed out of their mouth, in other words, and they can focus on that positive. The amateur, unfortunately, beats themselves up because the game of golf is played between shots, not at the shot. So that's just one example. It's the same true with basketball, wrestling, or even the peak performance of going to the grocery store and putting your groceries in your car.
Yeah.
Everyone's a peak performer. So we want everything to be, the thoughts have to be positive. Now we're all going to fail in some way because we have high expectations, but we shouldn't beat ourselves up about it. There's a saying I have, anything worth doing well is worth doing terrible at first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen there's a lot of great content out there. I saw J.K. Rowling had a great talk that she did. It was a graduation speech at an Ivy League school. I don't remember which one. And she talked about the benefits of failure. And it's just really how you look at it. It's not really failing. It's learning other ways to do things better, learning about yourself, the self-awareness that comes with trying something, learning what your actual skills are, and then learning how to do it better, to think differently about it. And thinking is such a big part of it, and your mind is such a big part of it. And what kind of changes have you seen people be able to make with some of the things we're talking about as they implement it in their life?
Well, just talking about just in general, people with like the military coming back, we deal a lot with PTSD. So people don't understand, these guys are moving at such a high level of stress. Then they come home and there's not all that stress. The brain doesn't know how to adapt.
Yeah.
So we have to teach the brain how to disengage and then re-engage into the lifestyle they have now. And that's hard at first because they don't know how to do it. But it's really a physiological game. We got to get the body to do it first. So we got to start rehearsing. That's one. And the other is we've seen people that have been...
And when you say rehearsing in the mind, right?
Yes. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real or imagined.
Yeah.
If I ask you to if I had a piece of lemon and ask you to bite into it now and you bite down, you might even right now start to salivate.
Feeling it.
Right.
I'm feeling it.
So the listeners, that's just a little example. Everything, we have mirror neurons. In these mirror neurons, that's how we learn everything. So they're still on even though we're not 7 years old anymore, or 5 years old. So we're always either going, hey, I can be like that person, or I could never be like that person.
Right.
We want people to associate with the positive they see in the world, and then the negative, like in my case, I have a chapter in my book called I Was Blessed to be the Son of an Alcoholic, because how does it serve me to say I'm an alcoholic son? You know,
right.
He learned so I could learn how not to be that way. So there's different things, again, the gene expression. We've had people who have not slept in 14, 15 years retrain their brain because it's a brain deal.
Yeah.
Once you get rid of brain stress, magic happens in your life. And the cornerstone is that, like weight loss, we were featured in People magazine, for instance. We were able to submit over 100 people that had lost half their weight and kept it off for more than 5 years because they changed their mindset, not their diet as much. They did change their diet, obviously, because you can't eat junk and expect a healthy body, but they focused more on their mindset. People are now they're eating to live instead of living to eat.
Yeah.
And that's the key. So changing that little mindset. And another example, if somebody's out there smoking, obviously there's never been somebody at 100 years old that goes, man, I'm glad I smoked.
Yeah.
Even at 100, they'd say, how long would I have lived if I had been a non-smoker?
I'll tell you a funny story. Well, 115-year-old woman, saw a quote by her, and they asked her, what's your secret? She said, I stopped smoking at 91.
Exactly, that's it. So we get people aren't smokers. The number one thing I can tell the listeners, you are not a behavior. That's the number one law of psychology.
That's huge. Wow.
So you can't, if you say I'm a smoker, then your brain's got to create those habits and patterns and beliefs. But you are a person who chooses to smoke. Now you have a choice.
Yeah.
You can choose to go back to your genetics. Our genetics were non-smokers. Nobody was put in a smoke-filled incubator when they were born. So there's no smokers. So that's the key, and that's true with everything. So if we can just shift the mindset just a little bit, doesn't take a lot. A little change every day can make an incredible life.
Yeah, that's huge. Well, brilliant information, and it's so important when it comes to the 100-year lifestyle. We are the first generation in history that's getting the advance notice that whether we like it or not, we're probably going to live longer than we ever thought. Our generation, we need to live differently, think differently. Great information, great insights.
Thank you.
Dr. Patrick Porter, Brain Tap Technology, thanks for being with us, my friend.
Thank you.